Okay, well, welcome, Washington State wrestling fans. We're live here for another podcast. Today we have Dave Gilbertson, one of our main officials for our Washington State wrestling. I know he officiates a lot with the high school. We also have Jody Coleman, head wrestling coach there at Ording, and then we invited Tim Payne. He's the owner of Myhouse. The whole purpose of this podcast today is kind of talk about our Myhouse, who's number one, kind of fill Tim in on, how it went, how we felt it went, and what our goals are for years to come. But real quick, as you guys are watching, I just wanted to let everybody know that our registration for our Folk Style State Tournament is going to be open here this weekend. So get registered. We cap it at 1,600 wrestlers. We're sitting over 6,000 wrestlers today. That's about 2,000 more than we had last year. And we sold out. So we had to turn people away last year. So Don't wait till the last minute thinking that you can sign up the last night, because more than likely it will be shut off a couple days before. So get out, register. We'll see you at the Tacoma Dome February 18th. We'll have Tim Payne there. Make sure you go see him. However, Tim, you cannot be selling apparel because we're locked in with the deal with Fine Design. So, but hey, Tim, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I wasn't aware of this. We're not gonna be able to sell anything, Justin?
Well, you can't sell tournament apparel. You can do what you did last year, like the shorts.
Fantastic. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, Tim is the owner of Myhouse. Myhouse is our national team gear people. They do a lot of gear throughout the state. I know he's working back-end deals with high school stuff. But Tim, why don't you go ahead and take the floor for a few minutes? Tell us a little bit about Myhouse, some of the things you've done. I know you've done some Olympic gear down to Puyallup wrestling. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So I basically got involved in wrestling as a freshman in high school, and how I got about it was I got cut from the basketball team. So go figure. I went from the basketball team. It so happened that the wrestling team needed a 98-pounder to go out there and wrestle and get their hand raised for forfeits because they didn't have a 98-pounder. So I made the weight and I went over to the practice room, and I from there on I just fell in love with it. Wrestled 9th grade through 12th. After that, I went on to college. I wrestled 1 year at a junior college. College just wasn't for me. Started working. I was in and out of businesses, always involved with wrestling. I was either coaching or officiating. I ended up owning a convenience store, and the convenience store was actually in the country. What happened was the state of Pennsylvania shut down the bridge that was right next to our convenience store in the country for 2 years. So basically put us right out of business. And in the meantime, we couldn't pay our light bills, so I started selling some MMA style shorts at some local events, trying to pay the electric bill. I bumped into a wrestling coach at an MMA event, and he asked me to, back in 2009, if we could put his logo on the MMA shorts. And we did it. And from then on, it was just, it was a hit with the MMA style shorts. We started doing really good. People started asking us if we could do singlets, if we could do tops, if we could do gear bags. Started surrounding myself with really great people in the office, started adding people as we needed it. And, before we know it, it's a full-time gig. We employ 15 people full-time. We did 3 Olympic teams in Rio, Cuba, Mexico, Haiti. We work with Dominican Republic for the World Championships. We work with Barbados. So it's just amazing how far getting cut from the basketball team brought me, which is insane because I don't know about you, but I think every kid should have a chance if you're paying your taxes for the school, I don't think the kid should get cut. Getting cut from any team is like getting stabbed with a dull knife. You feel terrible. I'll never forget that day. But when I found wrestling, man, it was a life changer. So I'm basically addicted. I'm addicted to wrestling. I'm addicted to watching Flow on TV. I'm addicted to supporting wrestling. And getting up for work these days is not like going to work. It's like looking forward to go to work, which is a lot of fun. And I was talking to Dave before about my officiating career. And that's always good too, because I was saying, it's nothing like going out on the mat, and it's not an easy job, but to get the best seat in the house and get paid for it, it's a nice job. I know some nights I went home, questioning some calls I made, and talking to myself, losing sleep over some matches. But all in all, man, wrestling has definitely been great for me, and I want to keep on giving back, back to the sport. When Justin talked to me about this, who's number one in Washington, we were all in from day one, and hopefully we can make this thing go further and bigger in the future. And
Tim, I'm gonna warn you right now. You just called it who's number one. I accidentally did that, and your marketing crew contacted me within 20 minutes and told me I had to change the name.
Okay.
So the name is Myhouse, who's number one.
Myhouse, who's number one. And
you just cut it short. I just don't want her to get mad at you. Just help me out.
So, and I heard it was a great success. I wish I could have been out there, but being 2,500 miles away from us or 2,000 miles away from us just wasn't feasible at the time. We did see some great pictures, and I'm looking forward to the next year. Seeing what kind of competition we can get going. What was the dual meet final, guys? Did you guys have a team score?
Yeah, it was like 26-32. However, when we did it, we had two guest coaches type thing, but we just kind of paired them up and told them to line up wherever they kind of want. We did line them up on teams, and it wasn't so much about team score as it was just getting the kids the experience, giving them opportunity to get back. Most of these kids have, competed all summer long at different camps, shooting each other with paintballs at some camps to wrestling live and going to Fargo and duels in Pennsylvania or Oklahoma. And so really the whole goal was to get some of these kids back together during the folk style season, take some pressure off of them as they're preparing for postseason, and just give them a fun experience, something that they can remember. Win or lose, we were there to learn and to really just promote and celebrate our sport and to share in good quality wrestling. So
that's great, man.
But as far as team scores, I think technically it was 26-32 Robos.
It's always nice to pair them up. So it was like a good match to watch for the fans where it comes down to like the last match or two. Makes it exciting.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, Tim, again, we want to thank you on behalf of Washington State for your hospitality, for your sponsorship, for everything that you do for us. You've definitely provided good gear over the last year. You helped us out when we were buying the year before, and thank you very much. The event was awesome. We definitely look forward to doing it with you guys again next year if you guys are willing. I know Track Wrestling is wanting to partner with you on the event next year. If you're willing to do that. If not, we'll find something else for Track to sponsor. But anyway, it was awesome. Dave, I kind of wanted to talk to you today before I turn over to Jody. You were one of the officials with Kevin Bauer. Right. I know when I called you, you had to clear some work schedule and try to figure out if you could make it work. We're grateful you did. What was your take on the event overall?
Well, I thought it was real special. I mean, I wouldn't have taken the afternoon off. That's a lot to take the afternoon off. I only work three half days a week, so the hours are valuable. But this was a big event, and I was honored that you actually asked me to come down there and work it with Kevin. So hopefully we can do that again next year. It's nice when you get. It's very similar to what they do with the college duels. Trying to get the top 1 and 2 guys, and I think that makes for a real interesting forum. I'm glad that the crowd was had a pretty decent crowd. I'd like to see it packed for something like that. But I also know it's Christmas time, so I was happy. It was we got there a little early. We're watching some of the duels, and there wasn't too much crowd. And I brought another official with me to watch, and he couldn't believe there weren't that many people. But then when it came to the main event, he had a pretty good house. So I thought it was well done. You guys did a good job putting it all together. It's nice to have those special uniforms that they had from Myhouse. That was pretty good. Like I said, I know it's a lot of work. I've worked on putting all-star duels teams together for Orca for 5 years, and I know lining up trying to get the top guys and on the right day and in the right location. Not always an easy thing to do. So you and Jody did a really good job of putting that whole thing together. You had some top-notch matchups there. So
cool. Well, thank you. Well, yeah, and that's the the question that we were asked, or I've been asked, and I know it's been on the message board that you guys run there, Dave, and that's who did this, how did we do it? There's speculation of, the reality is this type of event has been around for years. It's not something that Jody Coleman or Justin Newby or Ruben Navarez Jr. or somebody came up with. Utah Idaho does an all-star duel. The difference that we wanted to do was try to bring people in, bring some top big names in to really, give our kids opportunity not only to watch high-level wrestling, but to meet some, pretty popular people around the country.
You had Robles there, right, Justin?
Yeah, Anthony Robles flew in. Yeah,
that's amazing. What an amazing athlete. How'd you get Anthony in there?
Well, Jody, do you want to kind of talk about how we got all this going?
He's like one of my heroes, man. That guy is unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I've known Anthony for a long time. I've been bringing him out to my camps since even before he was All-American.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so we just kind of developed a friendship over time. And when Justin and Ruben and I were talking about forming this Who's Number One, I just thought it'd be cool to get somebody like him out, kind of hype it up, and then the kids would also have somebody that they look up to, that's like a superstar in the wrestling community, for them to meet, get pictures with, shake hands. So we brought Anthony out. I know he loved doing it. He thought it was a real cool thing to be a part of. It was just neat that he gave back, to us and to our wrestling in this community. And he actually had recognized some of the kids, and some of the kids have been coming out to our camps for a long time. So he's seen a lot of those kids grow up too that wrestled in the Who's Number One. So that was kind of fun for him. And I know, but the gear from the kids' feedback, we had a boy wrestle in it and a couple local boys, and they sure are proud, to get that custom gear.
Nice.
They thought it was really neat.
Very cool. Yeah. I remember I saw Anthony Robles out in Nationals in St. Louis, and I went over and I grabbed him, and I'm like, yo, Anthony, come here, man. Shook his hand. I quick got my phone out and gave it to somebody and had to grab a picture of him real quick. And then we were in the airport, and he was there in the same terminal as me. And he was reading the book, but I think I was bothering him, man, because I was just like so ecstatic that he was there, and I kept on talking to him. I was probably a pest to him, but I just couldn't help myself. He's just that type of an amazing guy. To watch him, from a freshman to placing sixth at NCAAs I think he placed sixth his freshman year to being a national champ was with one leg is just unbelievable and always smiling. So good, man.
Yeah, he doesn't mind getting pictures with anybody. One of the kids there said, I caught one of the kids in the hallway, and he said, hey, would it be weird if I got a picture with him? And I said, it'd probably be weird if you didn't get a picture with him, because everybody else here is doing it.
Yeah.
They loved it. He loves taking pictures with people.
That's awesome, man. Great job getting him there for the Myhouse Who's Number One.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
My picture back.
Yeah. So in part of the way that all happened too, I think it's kind of funny how, Anthony and a lot of this started when we were in Colorado Springs that Jody started talking about. We kind of got sidetracked there. It was Jody, Ruben, Navarez, and myself, and we were sitting there. I think it was a Friday night, and it was probably 9 o'clock. No, it was probably 10 or 11 because we were done with class and the technique sessions and stuff. So it might have been 9 or 10. And I think all three of us, once we decided, like, hey, let's make this happen, got on our phones and probably sent out between the three of us 100 text messages. Mm-hmm. I think the last text message that came back on, technically it'd be Saturday morning, was from Brent Barnes at like 12:53 a.m. talking about the event, trying to get it going. Again, Lake Stevens was in California, so they weren't able to have some of their guys. I know, like people are like, why wasn't James Rogers there? Well, they were in Nevada. Big shout out to Bob Friend. Bob, you watch. I appreciate you so much because your whole team flew to New York and you guys rebooked a flight for yourself and Christian Friend to give your son the opportunity to wrestle and showcase his talent. And I know we kind of had a last minute change there because Christian wanted to drop to 138 for New York. And we scheduled him at 145. So we kind of threw a curveball at Alex Cruz because he was getting prepared to wrestle Gavin Guys and Gavin was getting prepared to wrestle Cruz, but Gavin was a little bit heavy. So it kind of worked out perfect in our cards there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Jody, we owe you a huge thank you, as well as, obviously Ruben and Chris Feist, and Dan Pitch from Bonnie Lake. All you guys helped us out tremendously in organizing, getting the kids, getting the buy-in, contacting coaches when we didn't, and even Bob Friend. I already mentioned him, but Bob did too. When we didn't know a kid's phone number or didn't know a coach, or those guys all stepped up to bat and helped promote this and turned it into what it really was. Jody, you're phenomenal with your graphics and your art design.
Right on.
So I now know someone who can design camp flyers for our state.
Yeah, right.
But all in all, I think it was a great success. The feedback that we've had from the kids, the emails, the phone calls, the text messages. I had one parent literally come up to me after the event, said that they drove over 300 miles and it was worth every mile that he drove, with tears in his eyes. And so that to me was, and actually what I would say, Dave, and you were part of this, some of the greatest part about this event wasn't even so much the wrestling that took place.
Right.
The wrestling was awesome, but when we went back and did our weigh-ins and we spoke with the athletes, we all have some inside jokes or one-liners on each other. Dave and Kevin spoke. I kind of called out roll call. We kind of talked about why we made some of the matchups, and all the kids were kind of making fun of each other, high-fiving each other, giving hugs, talking. And just the camaraderie that existed. I don't think one kid, win or lose, was disappointed that they were a part of this event. And that to me, on a state director standpoint, to see the unity and what that brought to our state means more to me than just watching the wrestling itself, which was, invaluable to a lot of the kids that I've heard from their parents and club directors and stuff that were in attendance or purchased a track subscription. So, thank you again. Next year, we look forward to doing it probably the same time. I've had a couple schools reach out to me and offer their venue. I mean, I know we could have done it at Ording and we kind of shifted some things around, but there's been a few schools that have reached out that have offered to donate their facility if they could get the PR for this event next year. So, I'd like to keep it around that same general area. I think it's pretty close for Spokane to get there, close relative.
But
good
access.
It's good access. Yeah, exactly. So it's worth it, but we'll see what next year entails. And we definitely look forward to doing something special. And of course, Dave, do we want to bring a third official in or just keep you and Kevin for next year?
Well, when you do the high school like that, it's 2-man mechanics as opposed to 3-man for freestyle. Unless we want to do a hybrid,
Well, that's what I was saying. And so one of you could have a break between a match or.
Oh yeah, we could. Yeah, that's fine too. That's good. They have the third. And the other thing is the kids were talking about wanting to do some rule changes or something, modification. And I told them, well, we're not going to do it that night. Obviously, they wanted to go to the knees, the foot in only, and not worry about the knees and stuff. Like I know Flo makes some adjustments at nationals and wrestles a hybrid set of rules. I said we weren't going to do that tonight, but we could talk about it in the future on that. But one more thing about what you were talking about, the camaraderie that at that pre-tournament meeting we had with the kids, it reminded me a lot of the junior and cadet dual teams that I was on when I was coaching back there. That my son was on, like say from 2002 to 2007, and just seeing those kids that during the regular high school season are battling each other as rivals and opponents, and all of a sudden they were in there joking around and they're having a real good time. You could tell that they were just there for a good time and to put on a show. and that's what we got, which is tremendous. So I'm looking forward to you guys doing that again next year, along with all the other USA events. And I'll put in a plug for the USA tournament this weekend. They got the one out in Snohomish going on. The numbers are already looking like over 500 pre-registered. So that ought to be a pretty good tournament. If anybody's watching this, that they want some competition.
Wow, that's great.
I saw you'll be there too, Dave. Thank you.
We're coming down. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of during high school season. I don't do a lot of this, but I'm actually doing the high school tournament there on Saturday, and they called our high school association and wanted to ask us if we could send some officials down there as well to help out, because they knew they were going to have big numbers, and they wanted some high level, since it's the Oregon Classic qualifier, some higher level officials there too. So I think it's going to be a good event. We've helped them out in the past, and it's a good group running it.
Yep, it will be. Adam runs a great tournament and does a fabulous job. Dave, thank you. I told Adam to call you. I'm like, call Dave, get him to go. But anyway. Yeah. So Jody, I know you're there at the gut check. Thank you so much for stepping out, getting in the car and joining us. I don't want to keep you too long. Tim, I know Pennsylvania, it's about almost noon for you. Dave, you got patients coming in. So I think we can go ahead and wrap this up unless anybody else has anything they want to say. But thank you so much. Yep. Dave, thank you so much. Jody, Tim, we look forward to working with you again and seeing what our national team stuff comes up to looks like this year. And thank you for joining us, and thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys soon.
Thanks.
Right.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Tim.
See you later, guys.
All right. Have a good weekend, everybody.